beer review. Now we're going to do something a bit different. We're going to be looking and comparing the same beer this time. What I've done is I've managed to invest in one of these popular contraptions, these kind of home draft machines. Now there are quite a few different ones out there, and after doing a lot of different kind of research, I went for one that I thought would be more suited towards me. In fact, as a beer reviewer on YouTube, I went for one that was actually reviewed by another YouTube beer reviewer. I won't say which one he is, but he is based in Wales. And he described the one that I went for as a machine that's for the casual beer drinker, which is a bit strange. So I'll leave that one with you. He's basically called it, you know, a kind of casual, occasional use kind of draft machine. And then I'll tell you why I bought it. But anyway, let's look at the beers we're going to be doing today, or beer. So what we've done is a few of our viewers have come back to us, and they've told us some of the beers that they like, and one that seems to be quite popular is Doombar. So we're doing Doombar. I know I've already done Doombar in the can, so I thought what we'll do is we'll compare Doombar in the bottle to, oh god, Doombar in a mini keg, which is 5 litres. Now the reason why I went for that is because this is 500ml. So it's 500ml and it's 4.3 in the bottle, and what is it in here? And of course it's 4.3 in the mini keg as well. The reason why I went for that is because it just makes the calculations a bit easier. Because if you buy it in the can, it's not a 500ml can. If I bought a 4-pack of Doombar, it would cost me £5, and I'd get 4 440ml cans, which is strange. So I can get it 500ml in the bottle. I can get 5 litres, which works out at 10 500ml servings. But if I buy it in a can, I get it as 440ml servings. It's a bit kind of strange that, isn't it? But anyway, never mind. But they're both exactly the same alcohol content. Price is, I bought this at £1.95, which I think is a bit high for this type of beer as a 500ml bottle, and of course it's a lot more expensive than the 4 cans for £5, but you are getting less volume on that basis. This works out, now this is a strange one, because when you go and search for this online, they say, oh, Tesco sells it for £15 a keg. Yeah, they maybe do, although I've never actually seen it in bloody any of the Tesco's that I actually looked at to try and get it. So I thought, oh, this isn't going well, I can't even get hold of the bloody stuff. But I did manage to get it on Amazon. Now it did work out at £15 a mini keg, but I did have to buy 2, so it was £30 for 2, which works out at 15. But if you get it on the subscribe and save, you can get it for as low as £27. So that's actually not too bad. So it works out, if you're going by that, it's working out roughly about £1.35 for 500ml compared to £1.95. And is this stuff in the bottle just as good as what's in the tin? Now, the machine I went for, the draft machine I went for, was the Beermonster one, and there's some reasons to that. I know everybody goes on about the perfect draft and the blades and all that. Well, first of all, the blade is just, I think for what it is, it's just too expensive. I think it becomes an indulgence rather than anything else, because it's just too expensive, and the kegs are too expensive for what you're really getting. I'm sure it's very good in lots of different ways, but just for that outlay I find it hard to justify it. And this is coming from somebody who actually reviews and probably drinks quite a lot of beer, and a lot of different beer. Secondly, you've got also the perfect draft. Now, one of the major things about the perfect draft It's £100 more than the Beermonster. It takes only one type of keg, so it's limited, same as the blade. And of course the kegs are quite expensive compared to a 5 litre. Yes, they are a 6 litre keg, and yes, if you buy them from certain places like Beer Hawk, you'll get a £5 return token when you send your keg back or whatever. But a lot of them are over £30. So if they're over £30, the cheapest you're looking at, not including any sale or promotional items, they're roughly about £25 for a 6 litre keg. And again, because it's coming from, trying to remember which company actually does it. Phillips actually does the actual machine itself, but I can't remember which brewery, whether it's Carl or Heineken, that is actually involved in doing the actual the kegs. But there is a limited amount. Yes, it is growing and they're adding new ones all the time. So yes, the catalogue is getting bigger and bigger. But the thing I like about these mini kegs is a lot of smaller breweries do their beers in these type of kegs. So there's a far bigger selection of these type of kegs available than there is with the Perfect Draught. Although there is quite a few with the Perfect Draught, but with the price, you're also kind of limited with the type of beers and the selection of beers you've got. Whereas I've got a far bigger selection with this. I can also support a lot of smaller local breweries instead of just supporting one kind of big conglomerate. You see, so there is method in the madness. Plus, the Beermonster, now remember this was classed as for a casual or occasional drinker of beer. It's also set up whereas I can use pre-gassed. Now this is slightly gassed, but it's not fully gassed, so I actually have to use a gas canister, a CO2 canister to actually gas it as part of the pouring, just like you would do in a pub. So again, it emulates more what's going on in a pub. But I can use actually pre-gassed. I think Heineken does a range of different pre-gassed 5 litre kegs that this machine will take, as well as these ones. Plus, there's something else. Another reason why I bought this machine is because I like to make my own beer. Now, one of the big problems with making your own beer is you've got to kind of condition it. Now you can condition it in the cask, which brings its own issues and problems. You can decant it and put it in a bottle and then use carbon drops and then condition it in the bottle, and all the problems that brings. Or I have the option of conditioning it in the cask, filtering it out, putting it in this, which actually I got as part of the promotion with the Beermonster, and I can then basically carbonate my home brew without all the hassle of trying to condition it with carbon drops in the cask to get basically carbonation in it, or in the bottle. Because the problem is with the bottle is, even with me buying new seals and different seals and everything else, it's kind of hit and miss, because I honestly really don't know whether I'm actually going to get a carbonated bottle or not, because that's one of the big problems. You have a nice carbonated bottle and you enjoy that, you go and get the next one, it's kind of flattish, and you're thinking, it's hit and miss with the bottles. Plus there's a lot of faff, basically cleaning the bottles, filling the bottles, allowing time to condition and everything else. And you're still getting sediment at the bottom and things like this, where I can actually filter, put it in here, and then I can carbonate it myself through the machine. So I've got all these options, plus I think it takes about 5 or 6 different types of keg systems. So it's a lot more versatile. But remember, another beer reviewer says it's for the occasional drinker. So I have more beers to choose from. I can even use my own home brew in it. I can use gassed, pre-gassed kegs in it, or non-pre-gassed kegs, and I can basically add my own CO2. Plus also, if I use a nitrogen cartridge in it, I can actually nitrogen stouts. So I can give it a true Guinness or a true Murphy's kind of pour, because that's what they use instead of CO2 to give you that kind of thick, kind of gloopy head that you get. and things like that. So, again, does this machine sound like it's a machine just for the casual drinker, or does it actually sound like it's been designed for people who like lots of different options when they're drinking their beer because they take it seriously? Yeah. So, anyway, let's crack on and see what this is like. So what I'll do is, I'll pour from the machine, and what I'll do is, I'll readjust the camera to let you see me pouring it, and we'll start this review because we're already 10 minutes into it and all I've done is waffle and wave things at the camera. Right, back in a minute. Hello. Right, let's set this up. So I'm just going to adjust the carbonation. There we go. Cheers. Right, so that's what I've just poured from the actual gas. Got the bottle here, got a green glass. Let's get it poured. Ooh. Now this is a Cornish kind of amber ale, if you didn't know about it. It's brewed kind of fairly locally. It's brewed in Cornwall. So there we go. From the draft machine, from the bottle, and you can see carbonation is a bit different. There's a lot more forward carbonation, as you can see. Different heads. Now here's the thing. There's a ever so slight skunky smell, as you can see. Clear bottle. Now, I did come across somebody going on about, funny enough it was the same beer reviewer going on about skunky smells. He was trying to describe it. Now it's basically like kind of boiled vegetables, specifically kind of more spoiled, kind of boiled cabbage kind of smell. He thought it would basically smell like something that comes out the backside of a skunk. Well, the main smell that comes from a skunk actually comes out of its secretion sacs at the back, not from its anus. So it doesn't come out the back of it, it comes out of it basically. It's kind of secretion sacs. One of the major things is, trust me, the smell that actually comes out of the back of a skunk has got no bearing on boiled cabbage or boiled vegetables from that point of view. It's absolutely horrendous what comes back out of a skunk, so again, it's got no bearing. But anyway, there we go. Draft, bottle. So it's kind of skunky. This is more maltish. You're getting more malt, more sweet. You are getting a lot of boiled cabbage, and again, probably because it's in the clear bottle. You know, it's got a bit of light strike or skunked, depends on what you want to call it. But yeah, so let's try the bottle first. Right, there's a wee bit of skunkiness there, not so much malt. It's light but not sweet. There's a lot more carbonation there, there's quite a lot of carbonation. You can feel, you can actually hear it bubbling away on the surface. You can see there's really quite a lot of gas moving about. That looks okay. Bit of lacing in the glass. And taste. Okay, there's a wee bit of kind of bitterness, a little bit of wateriness as well. Let's try it from the draft now. Oh. You hear that in the background, that's actually the chiller, because what it does do, it also actually chills the keg as well, which is good. Right, well that's kind of night and day. And as you can see, it does look nice and night and day. Now technically you could obviously drink this from the kind of tap on the front, and then you'd obviously pop the vent at the top, so it would allow you to actually air to come in and obviously use gravity in the air to kind of push the fluid out through the tap, and that's how it works. This is actually being pushed through by the actual CO2 cartridge, so that's the thing that's pushing it through, because it's actually being dispensed from the top and not from the bottom. Excuse me. Funny enough, like a normal keg you get in a pub or a bar. And of course it actually has a CO2 line, so basically that's how it does it. So yeah, big difference in taste. Because this has got less CO2 in it, you don't have, there's a kind of a sweetness to it, there's a kind of nice malty sweetness to it that you're not getting with the bottle version. You're also, because it's in a clear bottle, the way the CO2 is working and ever so slight skunkiness from it, you are getting a kind of bitterness that just isn't there with the keg version. It tastes alright, but nothing great from the bottle side, which is one of the reasons why when I do drink Doombar, I don't go for the bottle, because it's a clear bottle. I always go with it in the can. Unfortunately, like you say, compared to other, if I'm buying a 4-pack, a lot of other kind of brands of beer, I'm getting 500ml cans. For the same money I'm only getting 440ml cans, which is one of the things I kind of mark down with Doombar, but I don't know why. But there's a couple that do that as well. There's a few, I think there's Tango Food does the same. And they really need to kind of get with it and just go with the 500ml. As for this, oh, it's a lot nicer to drink. It's almost like a different beer. It really is almost like a different beer. And you can see how it looks. Which one actually looks more appetizing? So yeah, I spent 149 quid and got a free, I could have got a free keg from them of the different brands that are available, or I could get the clear keg that I can use for home brew, which is what I wanted, so that was great. So I got everything I wanted. I got 3 kind of gas canisters. In fact, I'll just get you one to see. So you get these little type of gas canisters. Now, these kegs, they range from, I don't know, about roughly about £15 or slightly less than £15 a keg. If you use a subscribe and save, to about, well, they can go up to £30 as well for some of them, and it's moorish. And you don't have to obviously buy the ungassed ones, you can also buy the gas ones. I think the gas ones are starting off, Heineken are doing them for roughly about £19. So there's a few different options from that point of view. These work out at roughly about £1.50. One of these will last a keg, basically. So they're that good from that point of view. So they'll last a keg. They work out at roughly about £1.50. So if over 10 500ml portions, then it's adding another £15. So if they're roughly about £1.35, it's roughly about £1.50 all in for 500ml, which isn't bad. It's cheaper in the bottle, not as cheap as the can, but you're also getting a 500ml portion from this, and I'll be honest, it's a far better product. This is just so much nicer than this, and it's hard to believe it's the same beer. So I'm paying more for this, for a 500ml portion, than I am for this. If you took it as an equivalent, this is £45 pence cheaper than this. Yes, you have to buy the machine and everything else, but it'd be interesting to see what this is like without the machine. I would still say it would probably be better. So how would I say or recommend you should be drinking your Doombar? Well, I would maybe look at buying it in the keg, whether you've got a draft machine or not, and maybe have a go at just drinking it as is. I'm sure there's probably enough carbonation in there to make it very drinkable, but it's just the flavour. It's really nice. Obviously I'll go into more about the Beermonster machine when I'm going to be doing my homebrew, and we'll look more into about doing the different carbonation, because you can control how much you carbonate the brew as you draw it through, and of course you can obviously, it chills your keg and you can set the temperature, same as quite a lot of them you can do, which again means I can then muck about and vary with the different kind of temperatures to see what gives me the best balance between flavour and drinkability, you know, that type of thing. So like I said, this was described as a machine for the occasional beer drinker. Well, I'm saying nothing. I'm not going to slag anybody off, but I just find it very, very strange that people say that. Maybe they should do the research and the homework first before they come out with kind of what I would say is a kind of stupid statement. But anyway, and this is the type of thing that I think it was Lord's Brewing Company actually gifted one of these machines to him, and that's how he responded back to them. And of course with the Lord's Brewing Company, they're obviously putting their beer into these type of kegs so you can actually buy theirs, so they're all for it because it opens up a new kind of product line for them and a lot of other smaller brewers. So from that point of view, so yes, I would recommend getting Doombar in the 5 litre keg, not in the bottle. You could get it in the can kind of gives convenience, but again, I don't think it's as good as this. It is so much nicer compared to this. In fact, I actually don't really drink this. I find this is kind of, you know, it's a completely different mouthfeel. It's a lot harsher in the mouth because there's a lot more carbonation. It's nowhere near as pleasant to drink. There is a kind of bitterness because of the skunking. It just doesn't have that kind of sweet maltiness to it. It's almost, if I put them in 2 different glasses and gave them to people as a blind taste test, they would probably think it was 2 different beers. And that's the worrying thing. So what this has proved, whether you've got a machine that can actually pour it as a draft, I would say it would still be better to drink from the mini keg at £15 than buying a load of bottles or a load of cans. So for all the viewers out there who enjoy Doombar and it's one of their favourite beers, have a go in the mini keg. I think you may be surprised if you haven't done so already. You probably already have, but yeah. So that's us. Thanks for watching. Cheers and bye for now.